Right now, somewhere, someone is lying to your face. Maybe it happened this morning. A coworker said the meeting ran long. A friend said the food was great. You believe them. But for 1/25th of a second, before the polite mask settled into place, their real face showed through. You didn't catch it. Almost nobody does. And that's strange because your brain was built to catch exactly that. For most of human history, reading a face correctly was the difference between eating dinner and being dinner. Your ancestors didn't have contracts. They didn't have background checks. They had faces, and they had to trust their reading of them, because a miscalculation about who was friend and who was foe could end everything. So evolution did something clever. It didn't just give humans the ability to lie. It gave humans a face that fights against the lie, even while the mouth is telling it. This is where the story gets strange. In the 1960s, a young psychologist named Paul Ekman set out to answer a question that seems almost embarrassingly simple. Are facial expressions universal? Or are they learned, like language, different in every culture? Ekman traveled to Papua New Guinea to study an isolated tribe called the Four, people who had almost no contact with the outside world, no film, no photographs of Western faces. He showed them pictures of expressions: fear, disgust, anger, and the four people read them correctly. Every time. A face frozen in fear looked the same in the New Guinea highlands as it did in New York City. That single finding cracked something open. Facial expressions weren't culture. They were biology. Hardwired. Older than language itself. But Ekman wasn't finished. Years later, while reviewing slowed-down film of a psychiatric patient, he noticed something almost invisible. A flash of grief, there and gone in a fraction of a second, buried underneath a smile the patient was using to hide her suicidal intent from her doctors. It lasted less than half a second. Unless you slowed the footage down frame by frame, you would never see it happen. Ekman called this a microexpression. A leak. A crack in the mask that the conscious mind cannot fully control. Here's the part that should unsettle you a little. You have 43 muscles in your face. Most of them are controlled by two completely different nerve pathways. One pathway is voluntary. It's the one you use to smile for a photo, to arch your eyebrows in fake surprise, to perform whatever expression the moment requires. The other pathway is involuntary. It fires from a deeper, older part of the brain, the same region that controls your heartbeat and your breathing. You don't choose it. You can't turn it off. And when a real emotion hits you, that pathway fires first, always, before your conscious mind even finishes forming the lie. So when a colleague says the report is not a problem at all, and for a 25th of a second the corners of their mouth pull down and their eyebrows pinch together before the smile arrives, that's not performance. That's leakage. That's the old brain overriding the new one, if only for an instant. Why so fast though? Why does the truth insist on showing up even when you don't want it to? Because for nearly all of human evolution, faces were a survival tool, not a social tool. Charles Darwin was one of the first to take this seriously. In 1872, he published a book called The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, arguing that facial expressions weren't invented by humans at all. They were inherited. A snarl that bares the teeth exists in wolves and in humans for the same reason. It once meant the same thing. A widening of the eyes in fear allows more light in and expands the field of vision, useful for a creature trying to spot a predator in the dark. Your face isn't just communicating. It's still, quietly, doing the job it was built for 100,000 years ago, preparing your body to fight, flee, or freeze. The problem is that in a modern conversation, there is no predator. There is only a mildly awkward moment you're trying to smooth over. But your face doesn't know the difference. It reacts to the social threat of being caught the same way it once reacted to the physical threat of a saber-toothed cat. The muscles fire. The truth leaks. And most people around you are moving too fast, distracted, socialized to look away, to ever notice it happening. This raises an uncomfortable question. If lying leaves a visible trace almost every time, why aren't people better at catching each other? Psychologist Bella DePaulo spent decades studying this exact gap. In one influential study, she and her colleagues tracked how often ordinary people lie in daily life and found that most adults tell about 1 or 2 lies a day, most of them small, and most of them undetected by the people closest to them. Not because those people are careless. Because human beings are simply not built to scrutinize the faces of people they trust. Suspicion takes energy. Constant vigilance is exhausting. So your brain, remarkably efficient at reading friend from foe when it needs to, mostly chooses not to bother with people it has already filed under safe. There's a twist here that even trained investigators get wrong. Researcher Leanne Tenbrink, who studies deception detection, found that professionals like police officers and judges, people whose entire job depends on spotting liars, are barely better than chance at consciously identifying deception from a face. But when tested on unconscious measures, like how quickly they associate a liar's face with dishonest words in a rapid word association task, their brains got it right far more often. The knowledge was there. It just wasn't reaching conscious awareness. Somewhere in the older wiring, the signal was received. It simply never made it upstairs to the part of the mind that talks. Which means the ability Ekman documented in a psychiatric patient's fleeting grief is still active in you, right now, every day. Your unconscious mind is almost certainly better at detecting lies than you are. There's one more piece of this that makes it stranger still. Not every leaked expression is guilt or fear. Sometimes, when someone tells a successful lie and believes they're getting away with it, a flicker of something else crosses their face. A tiny, involuntary spark of pleasure. Ekman gave this a name too, duping delight. It's the thrill of deception working, showing up on the face for a fraction of a second, completely unbidden, often in people who otherwise seem calm and composed. It's one of the reasons skilled liars sometimes get caught not by looking nervous, but by looking very briefly pleased with themselves. So think again about that coworker this morning. The one who said the meeting wasn't a problem. Somewhere in that half second before the polite smile locked into place, 100,000 years of evolutionary wiring did exactly what it was built to do. It told the truth. Your ancestors depended on that flicker to survive. Somewhere inside you, a part of your mind still caught it. It just never told the rest of you what it saw. The next time someone lies to you, don't watch their words. Watch the quarter second before them. That's not politeness. That's not performance. That's the oldest part of the human face, still working exactly as it was built to, whether anyone is paying attention or not.